Welcome to the Fellowship of the Films podcast. My name's Duncan, and with me I have Ryan, and today we are discussing the final episode of She-Hulk.
But before we do that, make sure to check out our socials in the About section of our channel, as well as to like, comment, and subscribe.
So, today, She-Hulk Episode 9. This has been a ride of a show. As you know, we were very negative sometimes.
Started to get back a little positive.
Some positivity in the last couple episodes. Still skeptical of the show. And then we have Episode 9, which takes a hard left.
Episode 9. Yeah, it takes a left and then a right.
And then right.
And then it goes down,
exactly.
and then it makes a new direction and just goes that way.
Whatever way that is.
I don't even know, man.
It invents a new direction. So, we're going to jump right in spoilers. Go watch the show. It's only 34 minutes long. It's like the shortest...
It's the shortest for the series finale of all of the Marvel series so far.
Which was concerning when I heard that. I'm like, so how are they going to wrap this up? What they were going to do is throw in a bunch of twists really quickly.
So, here's the thing. How are they going to wrap all this up? So, there was option A, which is a rush series finale. And then there's option B, which is not that. So, they did that.
No, they did both. They did rush series finale, then they interrupted it.
And they're like, no, this shit sucks.
And rushed it even more.
Let's go.
So, okay, here's my initial reaction.
Yep.
This was the second best episode of the series. Pure uniqueness got it there. The number one best episode of the series is the episode with Daredevil.
Yeah, that actually was almost a good episode, yeah.
I thought that was a good episode. Now, this episode is the second best. Just because of pure, unique direction they decided to go with this. It was bold. You know what? I don't know if it's because of the poor reaction to the show a little bit, or if they had this plan the whole time.
Well, they had to have had this plan the whole time.
Well, I guess, yeah, it was filmed. But, very unique direction to go. Every episode, the fourth wall breaking has got a little further and further until she just,
She just chucks herself out the freaking Disney Plus page, which I swear when we were watching that or whatever, I thought I just hit the circle button and just went back to the Disney Plus page for a hot sec.
It made sense.
And then I was like, wait a minute, she's still talking. What the hell?
So in the episode, we have a regular, it's going for the rush finale that we predicted, blah, 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 it's a couple twists.
Absolute
what's
cycle.
his name that douchebag decides to be...
He's the head of it. He's the head of intelligence.
He's hulking.
And then he just stabs himself with some Hulk juice and just becomes random ass Hulk number 17.
And then Abomination's in there. Who else? Someone else appears. Hulk jumps in. It's just a fight.
It's just a mess.
And I wasn't...
And then we had Titania just showed up.
Titania
just
shows up.
Everybody's
just... And as much as that was a mess, I did enjoy a little bit of action. We saw two Hulks fight for the first time in, forever. I haven't seen two Hulks fight since the first Hulk movie.
And that was a movie, too, so...
So that was kind of interesting.
For
and then they
seconds.
just do, she just gets mad at her finale and jumps out of the world into Disney Plus. Jumps into the making of. So I think that's called
Marvel Assembled, yeah.
Which is the making of. Jumps into the studio. Walks to the She-Hulk production building or door or whatever.
Talks to the producers, which I don't know if those are... I don't know if that's probably
Writers.
That's probably just not the actual producers, probably just the...
I can see it being the actual.
It could be, actually.
And then proceeds to go and talk to Kevin. Which is their play on Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel, but he's a robot. Wearing a ball cap, just like
he's got the same
cap.
ball cap, but he's Kevin.
And complains about the finale, calling out several things about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and...
I swear I was watching... Okay, the one thing I thought is I'm watching a Marvel panel here, right? They're like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'm like, what?
Well, asking all the questions we're wondering, when the heck are we going to get X-Men, she asks.
Did you just...
I can't tell you that, and he crosses his arms. This was bonkers.
It was... yeah, it's... I don't even...
This was ridiculous. So, and then she proceeds to go back out of her show... She asks Kevin for Daredevil to show up, so he just shows up out of nowhere.
He just shows up, not really much, no purpose. He's just there now, basically.
How did he get there? How did he know this was going?
Daredevil's a smart guy, and because Kevin said so.
And then they just rush they're just okay, so we arrest. I have no idea how they got to that point, but they arrest
They kind of skip from. It's just magically daytime now. and then she's going to go sue him, and it's like, what? What do you mean? Like, it feels like they just edited it out. Like, they're like, okay, we don't actually have a way to shoot this, so we're gonna do an out-of-body experience real quick, and then get back to it.
So, as much as, like, this is my favorite show, this was a really unique way to end it.
Unique is a term you can use, yes.
Now,
I can't... I'm
the king
processing.
The king of breaking the fourth wall up until now was Deadpool.
Yes.
But I think...
But Deadpool didn't go out of his movie. Like, well, he did, but that was in a post-credits scene, and that wasn't, like, the major plot point.
I'm like, well, he's not going to be able to break the fourth wall more than this. I want them to meet and just break with the fourth wall together. Like do a comic panel of just them punching out the fourth wall together.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this. It was a little bit meta for me, meaning like.
No, this was insane. This was the.
Here's my thing. I'm fine with Jen doing it in her own show by herself, but if they were like to include her in an Avengers movie and she was to pull stuff like this in an Avengers movie, it would take me out of it.
I think it would be probably toned down or whatever.
I would hope so.
Because I think it might just be like, I could even see them doing a funny joke, like she breaks the fourth wall for a sec or whatever, and then someone's like, who are you talking to?
Yeah, but like, as long as it's not extensive in other things. This was an episode, the pure uniqueness of this, and just kind of the what, because we were already, we haven't gotten this worked up, like worked up in a good way, over an episode. Like, we haven't been like, first thing happened, we're like, what? And then there's what? Like, all these characters start showing up, and we're like, why the hell is everybody showing up? What? Then she breaks out of it, and we're like, what is going on? So it was a lot of surprises. This was a ride, at least. Some of the other episodes haven't been a ride.
This makes me feel emotions, and it's so... Yeah. Although it's kind of... I don't know, it's just... The entire show, like, while this episode, it's... I don't really know my feelings, honestly, but while this episode existing, though, right? Mm-hmm. It does kind of make some of the rest of the show kind of useless, though. Because a lot of it, like, was building up to these, like, even, like, they had these little sneaks of this plot line or whatever, right? And then they're like, nah, we don't really like it. And then just chuck it out the window.
I didn't chuck out the window, but...
They kind of did, you know?
Here's my thing.
He hit the delete key, like, and he's like, it's out now.
We were working up to this intelligentsia and them stealing his blood, and it just felt like a rushed ending. Like, we were working...
It was going to be shit.
I thought it was going to be a bigger deal than just, like, a redneck group.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was going to be, like, a corporation, or there was going to be a bigger plot, but it was just this dude being selfish with a bunch of guys who didn't like She-Hulk.
And females, am I right?
An extremely sexist group of guys who don't like She-Hulk. And I was just, to me, that was kind of disappointing. I wanted it to be larger scale than that, but I should have seen it not being the fact of that coming.
Yeah.
Overall, with how the show's gone, I thought, in my opinion, this was the best they could have done on the finale. It made the finale was going to be short and rushed anyways, but they made it feel fun and fresh, and I appreciate that.
Or they could have just made a good show.
Well, but from what we got, I'm very much towards accepting what we've gotten. And from what they got, this was a decent way to end it off, because it was a little bit of a ride. This was thrilling for me. It was intriguing me. So to end the show in a way that's intriguing me, and afterwards I'm like, that was really unique. I'm going to be thinking about that and talking about that for a while. That's fine. I'd rather that than an ending a little bit more traditional, but so forgettable that I'm not.
Well, it would have been completely. Yeah, you're right there. If they would have just actually like stuck to the plot lines they had, if they would have just stuck to what they had written into the show, and just tried to come to a natural conclusion, that would have been just boring, terrible, completely forgettable.
Traditional,
and it would be completely useless. Like, it wouldn't be no point. And also, so this actually. This would be better because I will remember it, but not better because it's,
Here's the thing.
If they would have, I don't mind the ending, but if they would have, what's the right word? It's not like you can build up to this, but if the rest of the show had been just a little bit, what's the right word? Better set up so that if the entire show was kind of more like this, because it was pretty grounded for most of it, right? Like, she'd occasionally fourth wall break, but that was just like, otherwise the show was reasonably grounded. So this almost feels like it kind of like they just wrote themselves into a hole, and they're like, well, no one's seen this coming, and then they just wrote this out.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it for how the show went. Now, here's what I think it does well. This finale is so unique and not something we've seen that it makes me want to, like I literally just want people to watch this finale, but I'm like, oh, the finale wouldn't mean anything if you didn't have to watch the rest of the show. I love these last 2 episodes, the Daredevil one and the finale, so much. Like, I really like them. It makes me want to get somebody to watch the rest of the series in order to get to these 2 episodes. I'm like, endure the torture, but the last 2 episodes are actually pretty good, so just endure the torture to watch those, which I think is a sign of a decent, I'll say, ending, because I would say with episode 8 and 9 that I would say they stuck the landing for the most part. It was a wobbly sticking the landing, but they were falling through the sky, just a flailing, and then they at least landed on their feet.
See, I feel like they were falling for the style of flailing. They were flipping in circles. The parachute didn't work. They shot themselves in the leg. They landed, broke both their legs, and were about to die. Except for they got the time stone, so they went back in time and actually repacked their parachute, ignored everything else, all that flailing or whatever, and then kind of tried to. And then they survived the landing. That's where I'm at, basically.
Okay.
Now, there's a couple other things that I think we should bring up. Like, for example, there was Hulk just randomly just he just god the entire show, and he's like, yeah, I have a son, by the way.
Now, I like the MCU. Now, I'm just going to mention something about that. I like the MCU more when people don't post the comic book comparisons, because somebody posted a comic panel of Hulk and his son Scar. Oh my god, Marvel makes things look so dumb. Like, the comic panel, they look so badass, and they're both, like, serious, and they have, like, axes. They look awesome. And then it shows the show, and there's, like, Hulk in a freaking like a freaking Hawaiian shirt, and Scar looks like, his face looks dumb, and I don't know what that haircut is. Like, the front of his head's shaved, and then there's just a line, and the rest of his hair's back in a ponytail.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when I see it that way, I'm like, oh, the MCU just takes things and makes it look so dumb. So this is partially why I don't read the Marvel comics, because
How old would Scar be? Because he would have to be like 5 or something at max.
he looks
Because what doesn't make any sense? Because in Ragnarok,
yeah,
right,
it would have been in Ragnarok.
he would have had to be fucking on Sakaar during Ragnarok, right?
Yeah.
And even if he started at like immediately, he got there and started boning out, basically, right? Then he was on Sakaar for 2 years. They say that in Ragnarok,
and then the 5-year jump.
and then because end of Ragnarok pretty much lines up completely with beginning of with Infinity War and Endgame, right?
Yeah.
So Infinity War, there's after Infinity War. Well, there's about 5 years, basically, right?
So it's
5 years. So 7 years, and then I don't know exactly how far She-Hulk is after.
Let's go on the high side. Even if we say 2 years, he's still only 9.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but he's not 9 there. So maybe Hulk's age fast. Maybe he went with someone who ages fast. But
But also, that brings up more questions. Excuse me, because who the hell survived Hulk thrusting?
Hulk smash.
He smashed good.
Well,
I don't understand.
There's all these aliens and everything, you know.
Still, I don't. And how did he not think of that either? I don't know. I don't want to think about this anymore.
So you remember how dumb Hulk was in Ragnarok? He was like, Hulk, run, blah, blah. I just want to see someone being like, Hulk more than friend, and Hulk being like, Hulk more than... Like, I want to see the scene put to, like, Let's Get It On, the song.
Oh, gosh.
Like, I just want to see this.
I don't want to think of...
It sounds like something from Shrek.
It probably would make more... They're probably going to have... If they're going to continue on with this, they're probably going to have to explain it somewhere, hopefully. But...
Watch this, it's like Valkyrie's...
How? No,
I don't know. They hung out for a long time.
They didn't hang... Because Valkyrie's on Earth, dumbass. How did... She couldn't have, and they would have brought that up somewhere. Hopefully, like
hung out for
we
a long
had
time
a
on
kid. We left the kid behind
Also-
on the car.
Valkyrie likes girl. Like Valkyrie's a lesbian.
Yeah,
Or
that's
at
the
least
other.
bi.
That's the other problem with that too.
Maybe we have female Hulks somewhere in the universe. Oh no, that wouldn't work. How would we have? Well, we do have She-Hulk. I really
yes,
hope that-
but also there's 14 different things wrong with that, so you're wrong. Whatever.
Well, yeah,
it's
they're gonna have to explain that, but
fine. It's fine.
I don't like that. This is why I don't read Marvel comics, because the MCU makes everything so
Worse kind of thing.
not
Not
worse, but goofy looking, family friendly, not serious. So if I read comics, the MCU is gonna disappoint me. So I just don't read Marvel comics because I don't care enough. I only read DC, and then Marvel doesn't disappoint me as much. But once in a while, I'll see a panel like that where it's like, oh, look how awesome it looked in the comics, and look at the goofy MCU look. But we know that's my opinion. About the Hulk
that's
right now.
consistent.
I hate that. So, anyways, the rest
one
of
of-
the show.
One other thing I want to bring up quick
Yeah,
though is there's the post-credit scene, right?
What was
We had post-credit scene. Wong breaks like,
Right.
Abomination out of prison, basically, right? I don't like. That kind of is interesting because I hope they explain that somewhere because
I want them to explain the
because
relationship
Wong
between
those two are chill for some reason, you know. And I don't like Abomination. He's obviously changed a lot since the original Hulk or whatever, right?
Yeah, because also Abomination is just like totally in control now when he's a Hulk. He's not even half Hulk, like what's his name? Like Bruce. He's
Well,
just
Bruce
like,
is also. They're all just kind of in control when they enter this Hulk form now. They've all just figured it out. They've cracked the code. Well, at least I'll give it to Bruce, right? Because Bruce, he had enough mental turmoil and enough stress and enough time,
Yeah.
right, to figure it out. I guess Abomination,
he was
did
meditating and
he
everything.
did all of his. He spent 10 years in prison and then did some meditating and all that.
She-Hulk
right?
just magically happened.
She-Hulk is woman, so now I have control because.
Oh, well, yeah.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
That sounds nice.
But like that's basically what they said, right? She's like, I deal with anger all the time, so now I have control of my powers.
They did kind of say that.
They did. They said that in the first episode,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm just going off of what they said. But I
Um,
don't. Yeah, that's the one thing I'm not 100% like. You know.
Well, and I'm divided about Abomination too. You know how I don't like how they've apart from She-Hulk, it works for She-Hulk, but the rest of them,
Yeah, well, 'cause
I want
she's
to
a-
be rageful monsters.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's who I know them as.
Oh yeah.
So I don't love the direction. Like even Abomination in this show compared to when he appeared in the Incredible Hulk back in 2008, he looks more comic accurate, but he acts less comic accurate because he's just like talking and like, "Hi guys," which is what I hate about Smart Hulk.
I am the Abomination now, man. I
want him to be rageful. Like it's just
you almost make
can't
they
even call
almost make me want to rewatch. Like I want to see actual like Hulks fighting and
Here's the
stuff.
thing: you can't even call them Hulks. Hulks are raging monsters. They're like my friendly monsters or whatever. Like
Literally.
like, but whatever. That's the direction they're on. It's fact now. It's the way it is. Overall, we both. Well, I liked this finale. for
I
the most
didn't.
part.
I liked.
enjoyed
I
it.
liked what
enjoyed
it. I like what it did. I just don't think this show. It doesn't really redeem the show for me much at all.
Redeemed the show a little for me, but I'm still very critical about it and would not rewatch it.
Okay.
Well, actually, to see someone's reaction to the last episode, I might.
I'd sacrifice my mental sanity for that again because I want to see that. I'd rewatch this last episode just to not because I want to watch it, just to try to like break it down a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Now, going into more details, we talked about the overall concept. Let's talk about the little things now. There was a lot of little fun Easter eggs and stuff. There was references to like Kevin Feige. There was references to the effects team. I don't know if we talked about that already, but the effects team.
Oh yeah, the effects.
Can you transform off screen?
Because the effects team have already moved on to another project. They play like the Black Panther. Do.
Yeah. I thought that was funny. Like
That actually wasn't bad. I like if they're gonna be meta like that. A lot of the bits and stuff they did. While
Was funny.
I didn't mind that actually.
They're like, okay, we're gonna go meta, and they went full meta.
and then we ignore how we like got there. Basically, if you ignore how we got there, I
Even-
actually like that. I like some of those scenes.
even the swinging into Disney
That
Plus,
was
I thought
kinda-
that was super unique. I think it's going to become dated as Disney Plus changes and blah blah. It's gonna become dated.
Yeah.
Right now it works because
Because this is the newest thing, and that's probably what the Disney Plus Marvel page looks like realistically.
it is right now.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, it's gonna become dated, but it's still gonna be funny.
Mm-hmm. Unless they update this with every single.
Update the show every time.
Yeah.
Just kill the VFX team.
Yep.
Um,
We've released newer property, so now you have to update the She-Hulk episode 9.
So, what other little things were in there? Like, we got to see a little bit more Daredevil.
Yeah, we got him for... He had 2 lines or something. Not much.
He was being treated like the boyfriend at her house, even though he was just staying. Or
Yeah.
was...
They're
treating him like...
They were treating him like that because I think they knew or
They
whatever.
assumed.
So they're asking him, how much money do you make? Like, all that, those fun questions.
I do
so.
find her family entertaining. They're funny.
Yeah.
And, what else? What else little happened? What else did we get? I did, we got a short little fight scene. Like, the Hulk did go up against Abomination for, 2 seconds.
And I was like...
As short as that was, I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it as much as I can like it with... We know how much I like the Hulks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in their state, I just liked seeing 2 Hulks fight. I was like, oh, we haven't seen this in a little
And
bit.
then they paused
And it
it.
looked okay.
It looked okay. Yeah.
The transformation, holy man, of... What's that guy's name again? What's the dude in charge
Todd, I'm pretty sure.
his transformation into Hulk, a Hulk, was the jankiest, weirdest thing I've ever seen.
And see,
Which I get because he injected himself with it, but it was also just what is?
I don't like, and it's just the other thing about that basically, right? Is I don't. That's the one other thing I'm not 100% Why didn't he inject himself earlier?
Well, he wanted to make a show of it.
He wanted to make a show of it,
That man's ego is so small, he needs to do it in front of people.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, but still, you think you just test her out a little bit. I guess he's stupid, so that makes sense too. But it's besides the point.
I mean, it still worked for him. He turned into, but then they retconned it. So
Yeah, he's not the Hulk,
and
and he's getting sued.
and Bruce didn't show up.
Bruce
He
didn't
did,
show up.
but
He
then they
showed
erased
up.
that.
He showed up later now.
Yeah,
Because I don't need no Bruce to come save.
Titania just didn't show up in the first place. She did, but then she didn't.
Well,
They
she
erased
did.
that part.
She also she showed up just at. She showed up, but she just wasn't aggro or whatever. She's like, I got to take a picture of this.
And then, yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. That was unique. That was a good end to the show. It gives me a little bit more of a positive. If they could have ended on ways that I would have been I've hated this show. And I have not enjoyed the entire show, but they ended on a point that I have a relatively positive.
It could have been a lot worse.
Exactly.
That's all I'm gonna say.
They ended it me not hating it. And there's a couple of Marvel projects that I have hated. And I'm not angry by the end of the show. I'm like, that was a show. Did I enjoy every episode? No. Do I regret watching it? No.
No.
It was a roller coaster. It was entertaining at times. It wasn't entertaining at times. But overall, I'm happy I watched it. I don't think I'd rewatch it, but it was an entertaining ride.
It was a show. Overall, I still have my problems with it, but overall, it's
absolutely.
not
They just
that
redeemed
ending was probably with what they had. If you theoretically, we have to keep the first 8 episodes, basically, right?
Yeah.
If you theoretically have to make an ending you have 34 minutes, and you need to make an ending that will make people not hate this show as much, this isn't a bad way to go.
It's also just a chatting topic. Although I know most people, there's a ton of people that didn't watch this show. There was a lot of people who just watched the first couple episodes and skipped the rest. A lot of people just didn't watch the show because it was crappy. But people who did, this last episode was going to have people talking. I already saw some stuff on Twitter.
Oh yeah, this will.
It's going to be a chatting topic, right? So
yeah.
what is
too?
that?
Yeah, it's interesting. At least it's at least interesting.
This
It's not
gives me-
boring.
Here's one more thing that this does. If this ended really, really crappy, I would kind of be in an F Marvel kind of mood. I would be whatever. It ended decent enough that I'm still excited for.
It doesn't negatively impact my
Yeah,
it just makes me
I'm-
think this show was not my favorite, but whatever.
It ended on a positive enough note. I'm like, Okay. I'm ready to see the next Marvel project. I'm ready to watch the next thing.
So it's like, especially that we got Black Panther 2 coming. All right.
Which is in less than a month now.
Yeah,
I'm getting kind of hyped for that one.
I think it's going to be good.
Did you see the runtime?
How I heard it's longer, right?
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Okay, that's going to be a bit, but yeah.
So I really like that because the last couple we've got have been relatively rushed
Well,
movies.
for
Multiverse Madness.
Multiverse was still kind of long, but Love and Thunder was pretty short. I think
Multiverse was 2.
It was over 2, I'm pretty sure, right?
Was it? I thought it was only 2 hours. Okay, let's look this up. Give us one moment, people. I think it was only 2.
2 hours. It was over 2 sets. We were both right. It's 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Yeah, so it's pretty much just 2 hours.
Yeah, love it. The last two haven't been the longest. So 2 hours 45. This is gonna. I think it's one. This would be the third longest.
Well, and it looks like an epic movie.
Yeah,
but we're talking about She-Hulk. But we are excited for Black Panther. And we will have a review coming out on that when
it does come to
it drops. So, final thoughts. You could give this a final.
We can give it a ranking now.
Yeah.
What's your final overall ranking of She-Hulk then?
For me, it does sit at the bottom of the shows.
Yeah, my least favorite show, definitely.
But I thought it was okay. I don't hate it. You remember how I hated Love and Thunder for the most part?
Yeah.
I don't dislike this that much. Because it works with the character. Thor Love and Thunder was a joke, and I don't want Thor to be a joke. She-Hulk, she's a more comedic character, so it works.
Yeah, that's kind of her. That's how she's written, so that makes a little bit more sense. Yeah.
So, this sits at the bottom of shows, but I did enjoy watching it for the most part, and the last couple episodes redeemed me a little. So I'm gonna give this an out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Okay.
It gets a 5 out of 10. It was halfway there. The last couple redeemed me. There was the good qualities to it, but it doesn't get more than 5. I don't want to give it under 5 though.
Yeah, this would have to be. This is the first time I've ever heard this ranking. This would be an out of 10.
Out of 10. Okay.
It's
Now, in my letter grading, do you think that's below or above me?
It's about around where you are.
Around where I am. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's where we stand on this show. Like I said, last couple, I will rewatch the Daredevil episode. To be honest with you,
that as a standalone episode. Yeah, fair.
You know what I'm saying? I would go back. I did enjoy it enough that if I really want to see some Daredevil, or if I hear he's showing up in something coming up, making a cameo in a Marvel movie or something.
Yeah.
There was some good Daredevil action. I wouldn't mind
that one hallway scene wasn't too bad, I gotta say.
Now here's a good question.
Yeah.
One last topic I want to bring up. If you were to get somebody to watch She-Hulk, and they were like, you know what, She-Hulk looks dumb. What episodes should I watch? Would you tell them to only watch a couple, or would you tell them to watch the whole series? And if you were to only tell them to watch a couple, which ones would you say to watch? Because so far, I'm thinking definitely one.
I'd get them to sacrifice their mental sanity to go watch episode 1, just because it sets up the show.
Yeah.
You know?
So, would you go... Because I would say definitely 8 and 9, because we got Daredevil and that bonkers finale.
And the finale, yeah. I'd probably, it's just...
Do you think you could skip episodes? Because you still got the storyline going on about, Intelligentsia. So, do you think you could skip episodes, or would you just recommend someone bites the bullet and watches the 30-minute episodes? How long is that altogether?
It's not actually that long. That's only 30 minutes. We've waited. It feels like longer probably because we had the.
It takes about 4.5 hours.
And you could probably share it.
You could binge it.
If they're what's the right word? I'd give it basically I put it on the table and be yeah, it's not the best.
And you could skip the wedding episode, I think.
No, because the end of that wedding episode, that's where they set up that the dude stole her blood.
Right.
They set up that dude. They set up. I think they set up the dude.
Which means it kind of wasn't completely useless.
Yeah. It wasn't completely useless, but.
I guess someone could just binge it. That's just what I was thinking. Because for me, I wouldn't watch the whole series again. I'd watch probably just 8 and 9. I don't know if there's another episode in there somewhere that I would watch again, but I'd just watch 8 and 9.
Yeah, it's.
I wouldn't recommend it to many people though.
I wouldn't recommend this.
You gotta really if they're really into Marvel, I would say watch it. But if you're not really into Marvel and you pick and choose what Marvel things you watch, then don't make this one look. Anywho, for those of you that followed along, watch episode 9 if you haven't already. It is something else.
It honestly, if you don't care about She-Hulk at all, and you just want to you just want to watch something, just throw it on. You can see for yourself, because we're not joking here. This is actually what happens.
And share your thoughts with us on this interesting episode.
Make sure to comment comment what your
favorite
thoughts and theories
and
are.
favorite episode of the series. Anything you've thought over the last little while, let us know. I'd be interested to know like if someone was actually a She-Hulk fan and likes the comics and stuff, what they would have thought of the show. That would be interesting to me because I don't know anybody who's like a big She-Hulk fan. But
yeah,
that would be interesting.
All right.
Anyways, I think that's all of our concluding thoughts.
Yeah.
Like we said, comment on this video, follow us on our social media, all that lovely stuff. Support us, please and thank you. That's our thoughts on the She-Hulk series. We're all done this one. We'll be starting another one soon, hopefully. Catch you guys later.
All right, see you.